Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Let's do this. What are the games coming to crowdfunding that you need to know about for March 2022? Because there's a couple big ones. There are a couple ones that I am very interested to spend my money on. And there are going to be some serious temptations. As always, stuff that just comes out of nowhere. I'm looking at you, Sum 8 from February. You know, stuff like that that just totally catches your eye, catches your interest, that you had no interest in whatsoever beforehand, even if you didn't even have the knowledge of it, or even if you did. And that's why I love doing these videos, because I include a little bit of everything. Because they're fun to do too. Now, if you missed it, not only am I looking forward, but out last week, I put a video out that's looking backwards, because I think that's important to look too, because it's a little too easy to get caught up ahead. And if you missed it, you missed the announcement on the end of the news video last week, I'm going to be doing a freaking giveaway. If I can get to 10,000 by the end of the year, I'm just going to give somebody a big old pledge game, triple digits of worth of something, you know? And so if you know any publishers, if you know any designers out there that want to contribute, want to help me get there or help me give away stuff, let's do it. Let's get some motivation behind this thing as I creep towards, and I think I'm just going to be putting out a whole video just talking about that separately, but we'll get there. And, you know, what you have to do to enter and that sort of thing. If you're viewing this, you're probably already subscribed to me, and so you're probably already getting a good chance just to do it from that aspect. And I'll figure out some way to give long-time people maybe a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, especially maybe like triple entries if you're a Patreon or something like that. I don't know, whatever. I'll think of something fancy. I'm clever. Stop it, Eggnite. He's over here going, shaking his head, going, you're not that clever. I am. I'll make it happen. Anyway, let's get on to this. Games you need to know about in March 2022. The ones that I am going to be holding, clutching my wallet on to see whether or not they're going to pry money out of my cold, hard, not dead. What are you putting words in my mouth for now, Eggnite? Getting it out of my, person, hand, bank account. I'm done. Words are escaping me. Let's go. I have a type, and its name is fighter-esque two-player-ish games. Because clearly that fits well on a, driver's license card. Iconoclash. This is basically as close as you're going to get to Super Smash Bros. The board game. And if that doesn't excite you as an original Super Smash Bros. Player on N64, yeah, person in the comment section, I played it on N64. I screwed up and said Super Nintendo the first time I talked about it, and then I got called a faker. Anyway, this is that, and they're porting in some other games, and including in that is Level 99's I think 7th Cross, or one of their games. And so I'm super interested to see how this is adaptable. It's already on one of the electronic, tabletop simulator, Tabletopia, one of those, so you can try it out beforehand. And this is launching on March 15, and I'm just super interested to see. Oh yeah, here we go. A little bit of Level 99 games from Bullet, 7th Cross, as well as Millennium Blades. So I am super intrigued by this little Castlevania setting. They're going for it, and I'm going to be watching this one. This one is most hyped. I would love to get my hands on this one beforehand to try it out, to talk to you guys and run through a battle or two with this. Strange Machine Games also made Valiant Wars. If you're familiar with that, I talked about it just briefly as well on one of my brief snap judgment videos earlier in the month. And again, this is going to be probably the closest thing to getting me to spend money this month that I'm anticipating already. And, again, it's just going to be a price point, and how much is it going to be to get all of it? That's going to be the big question. So I'm going to be tuning in the day it launches on March 15, and there you go. Check it out if you're interested. Now, the other big one, the second biggest one for me of the month is going to be Tidal Blades 2 Rise of the Unfolders, because it got delayed a month. They kicked it back from the 22nd of February to the 22nd of March. There was a little split between Druid City Games and Skybound Games, and so this was a casualty of that, I believe. And so we're just going to have to see and wait and, kind of twiddle our thumbs until it actually launches. Again, as a campaign scenario-based board game with the beautiful setting of Tidal Blades, with a unique board system where you're going to be just, again, doing something different in a dungeon crawl sense. It's going to be miniature-based, which is going to raise the price point, but it's going to be really intriguing to see what it actually looks like and how much it actually costs. Previously with some of the other games that have been sort of under the umbrella of those two companies beforehand, like Wonderland's War, They do sort of did a combination. You could get a little bit of either or, and I believe they're doing something along the lines with this. I don't know details exactly. I don't think I'm probably going to have a prototype copy to talk about firsthand, but either way, this is the other one that is really, really standing out to me this month in terms of the hype, in terms of just anticipation for me personally, as a different take on the dungeon crawl with a great theme and some unique mechanics that are going along with it. So, 22nd, check it out. Also launching on the 15th, going head-to-head over on Gamefound, is Tamashii, Chronicles of Ascent, formerly known as Gaijin. Cyberpunk adventure, scenario-based, post-apocalyptic, venturing between two different boards, trying to go back and forth in this year of 5869. I didn't even know that. They've had a little bit more information that's come out in the last couple days. Prior to filming this, they had update number 4 with a little bit more campaign details. Again, the 15th of March. Standee version, miniature version as well. 700 components. I mean, I just saw a critic online, or a critique that was just like, sometimes I don't need, 100 tokens of 4 different kinds of resource. And so that'd be the only thing I would be concerned about. And that does not include potential stretch goals. Okay, great. $75 price, which is great. I'm not disappointed by that anyway, because I think with any of the Awakened Realm stuff, you're going to be getting a better deal on the core. So, mines, 4 mines, awaken your avatar. There are all the avatars. Wow, you got a lot to choose from there. Your basic classes is what it looks like that is. Rogue, Vision, Hacker, Slasher, Assassin, Defender, I'm assuming. Quam something. Quaminator, okay. Engineer, Chemist, Soldier, and Knight. Face the World, this Hespec system. Again, this is probably, one that I could be an easy sleeper hit of the month. And I'm really looking at this. And I like what Awakened Realms has done. Say what you want about them. They do this with all of their games, where you can get the miniatures that are superfluous extra. And I like that. Rado's already had a copy and already has videos out that are not supposed to be out or not easily available other than this website. So if you're interested, you can just Google it and get over here and check it out. So I'm going to be doing that. I was hoping to get, again, I've been in contact with Awakened Realms or Gamefound, and so I was hoping to get a hands-on, but I haven't heard back from them. So I'm assuming at this point, that's a big negatory. But that's okay. I'm still very interested in it. So again, this is going to be an interesting one, and now I know the price point, and how does that compare to the other 2 things that are going to be launching that I just mentioned? Because I'm going to guess Iconoclash is going to be something similar. Tidal Blades, I'm going to be shocked if it's less than twice this. So that's why it's number 3. The next one that is on the list is, again, more miniature-based, more tactical stealth combat, dungeon crawl-esque, and that's Earth Under Siege Flashpoint. Sort of a sci-fi take on the genre, if you will. Asymmetric operatives as you're going undercover trying to sabotage the alien race that's basically destroying and subjugating the planet. 30 mission-based campaign scenarios, and a little bit of everything. You can see here a little bit of what it's going to look like, a little bit of what it's potentially going to offer. I may even get a hands-on copy to tell you a little bit about during the campaign. They're floating around right now, and so I'm in contact with Dark Horizon Games, and there's a chance that I will have a hands-on experience as well to talk to you about while it's going on. Early hype makes it seem like this is doing something different. Again, it's less blunt force trauma sort of a crawl, and more of the Assassin's Creed V Commandos, set in more of a sci-fi scenario, which is intriguing. And again, I have no clue what this means, but I'm going to assume this is, you're using these cards in 2 different ways. And again, you've got your stats, you've got your gear, you've got your asymmetric tactics that you have. And again, this is kind of doing something different. And that's the main reason I look at these and I always ask, what are you going to bring to my collection? What are you going to bring to me that's doing something different enough than the stuff I already have? And, essentially as number 1 or 2 or 3 of the reasons of why should I get it in the first place. The only downside I would say is just the upside as well. I mean, it's a campaign scenario based situation, so you're having the carryover. How many campaign games do you need? I mean, that's 2 on this list already, so in the same month. And you guarantee that this one with the miniatures that you're seeing here, I mean, this is going to be, especially if there's any expansions included in the first point, it's going to be, triple digits easy, probably even 200-300 depending on what else it comes with. So again, this one though is launching on the 1st. I gotta mention it because it's a big name, but I have no clue what to make of this, and that's Far Cry Beyond, set in the 1980s, launching on the 7th. Sparks of Liberty, whatever that means. it's going to get a lot of brand and name recognition, but is it going to be a good game? I have no idea. Funforge has held their cards very close to the vest right now, and we don't really know. There really hasn't been any information released on what it's going to entail, except for the fact that it's more of a crawl game, you know, in line with the other two that I've already talked about. And so again, I'm guessing heavy miniature based, heavy price point, heavy brand recognition. But is it going to be more like Borderlands, where people are kind of like, oh, okay, there looks like there might be a game in there, but I can't really tell based on the amount of information or the lack thereof during the campaign? Or is it going to be more like Deep Rock Galactic, which is also killing it, and they've made it pretty transparent, you know, again, gameplay not on day one, but still within the campaign time frame withstanding. The rulebook was out on day one, and so you knew what you were getting into. And that's the schism of the video games on the tabletop side that's sort of being out there. And so I don't know which side of that this is going to fall on. We'll see when it launches on the 7th, and sort of hold our breaths until then and see what shape and form it looks like. So there you go. Now we have launching on the 22nd as well, sort of going to be the head-to-head contender that week, is going to be Tidal Blades versus Jurassic World. So established IP versus newish IP. This is a legacy game. A legacy of Isla Nublar. Are people going to be heavily invested in this? Is this going to be more like My City and Pandemic? Or is it going to be just ongoing, sort of like how Lucky Duck Games has tried to put out Divinus, the Gamefound from 2021, where it's going to be ongoing. You know, although you could argue My City is sort of that way, but I don't hear a lot of people playing My City after the board is finally done. Prospero Hall has a really interesting aspect here and a really interesting price point of what they're going to do and how they're going to offer this on a Kickstarter crowdfunder to get people to back it now versus waiting, because the vast other majority of legacy games have been non-crowdfunded. Because how do you offer, or what do you offer to get people to back it as opposed to waiting to retail? Are you going to deluxify a legacy game? I mean, you've got a few, what it says, 12 dinosaur figures here. You've got a map that's going to be changing. You've got events that are going to be going along the bottom here that are going to be changing. But what? Why? How? That's going to be the big question. And how do you preview a game like this without having a whole lot of information in the first place to tell you whether or not it's going to be interesting? I mean, that was sort of what Aeon Trespass Odyssey did. I mean, they did this whole prototype prologue, but you can't really do it with this. So if you're somebody making a video on this right now, like, how do you do this without having a whole bunch of spoilers? And the honest answer is I have no idea. Hey, take my word for it. It's really good. How well is that going to fly when people tell you that? Again, because your mileage may vary when people say that. Again, it looks like there's going to be a lot of interesting aspects. They're going with sort of an old school design, like the actual, like, old school here. And this is going to be the big... I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. We're going to see two IPs between this and Far Cry, and we're going to see how far they go and how much they can milk them for, because I hope there's a really good game here. But the problem is I just can't tell, and again, not enough information to even, you know, start to wager a guess. But I'm going to be watching it. I mean, again, this is one that I could easily see myself going either way on, depending on what and how it's presented. So there you go. Also launching sometime in the middle of March. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you the date, because I think I know the date, but I'm not sure if that's a secret or not. This is the Dark Quarter from Van Ryder Games. Now, the other name on this box that you can't see as well is Lucky Duck. This is sort of a Chronicles of Crime-esque, set in more of the New Orleans noir side of things. Now, 1980s is the time frame, but the other aspect you need to know right now is, if you saw the Lucky Duck, the other comparison that you need to know about is, with the Chronicles of Crime, it's app-driven. So that's going to be a turnoff, I know, some of you right there. But others, you know, depending on how the system's done, can work really well. Multi-scenario campaigns in a surplus of magic world, where it's happening on an everyday occurrence. You get to see a little bit of the background in the characters here, so you get a little bit of a glimpse of what else the world is going to entail. Now, different from Chronicles of Crime, the characters actually have actions and consequences. They're actually interwoven in the story. Your actions and consequences will directly influence the characters. They're not just nameless, faceless avatars like in the other game that I mentioned of Chronicles of Crime. So that's a difference. That's a step up. And the theme is definitely different as well. So launching in the middle of March sometime, give it a look-see if you're interested. Next up, launching on the 8th, we're going to go backwards here, right in between the two other big dates, give you a little variety each week. And this is Hamlet. It's a village building game. It's tile laying, pick up and deliver, where you're going to be building buildings in the village to create a better village. But the buildings that you are building in the first place, can I say buildings a few more times? Buildings, Ignite buildings. They can be used by everybody to get more resources and to create the things that you need. So not just by yourself. Now, they also say that it's not going to be equal size. So you can see here in this picture that they are going to be asymmetric in terms of how you're putting them together. The hexes, the triangles, the squares. So you're going to have to try and fit them all together. And you can see the resources that go in and the production that comes out. So that's a little bit different, right? In the first place, it's a 1 to 4 player. Solo mode is going to be present from day one. And so I think it's a Turksy solo mode. So if you're really interested, there you go. You know what you're getting into. And it's doing something different, which again is a tile placement game I'm very intrigued by. So we'll see what happens when it launches on the 8th. Another one that sort of has me intrigued launching on the 14th is Oak from Game Brewer. Now, there's not a whole lot of information out there, but you are a druid order trying to basically make the trees better, bigger, and longer living. And your sect smarts out very small, and you are growing the trees, you're growing your powers in your sect, and just trying to do the best that you can. Now, this is a worker placement game, but it looks like there's going to be asymmetric types of workers. Intrigued? You should be. It looks really interesting. You're going to be having a little bit of access to magic. You're going to be having a little bit of mystical creature interaction and a little bit of everything that entails along the, druid mystic side of things in the first place. And so there's not a whole lot of details like I mentioned, but again, it's going to be launching on the 14th. So I know other channels have talked about this. I think Rado has talked about this one as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's already got a video out by the time this video launches or very shortly before the campaign launches. So if you're interested, there you go. Now we have another interesting one, Solar 175. I reached out to them and I interacted with them and they sent me the rule book. And because the concept of this game seems awesome. Solar 175, epic world building, 1 to 5 player campaign game, legacy-esque Euro worker placement style game. And it was that last part, especially the heaviness, when I read through the rulebook, it was just a little bit too heavy for me because there's a lot going on. As cool as this sounds, I'm a little bit scared when it's actually going to go. Here's an example of the board setup right here. And you can see how much stuff is going on this board. And that, reading through the rulebook, I was a little bit intimidated, I won't lie. And so that was my bigger concern. Not that it's going to be a bad game, but because when you look at this stuff, again, look how much stuff you've got going on just on this page alone with all of these different symbols and resources and keeping track of everything. It's just probably not a good fit for me. And they were super gracious about it. Like, they were more than happy to even send me the rulebook in the first place to check out. So I always appreciate it when people are like, yeah, because again, if it's not a good fit for me, I'm not going to be able to truly represent it well and give it the deserved attention or the deserved nuance that other channels are. And you know what? There's better people out there for a game like this. And again, I'd be lying to tell you that my eye is not going to be still on this one when it launches on the 1st. But it's probably going to be a pass for me just because, again, it's not going to fit my style of things. And you know what? I'm okay with that because every game doesn't have to fit me because there's too much on this list already that I'm already going to potentially be thinking about shelling money out for. So give somebody else a chance of getting something that's more attuned to them and something that these guys can create that's awesome. So, again, more power to them. It's going to be launching on the 1st. Check it out. Last up, launching on the 23rd, we have Batman Gotham City Chronicles Season 3. Again, I've spoken of this in passing several other times. I was an original backer of Season 1. I'm not a big fan of optimization puzzles. It was not just a sandbox, free bash, complete objectives, complete missions. That's Batman, the animated series, which I ended up picking on the secondary market 2 months ago. This is much more mission-driven, asymmetric powers, but you're really very narrowed in what you can do, and some people really like that, and some people really didn't like it, and the rulebook was an atrocious mess. Now, Paul Grogan has already, put out there that the rulebook is getting a total revamp, and it's going to be a ton better. But is it enough to save this game? Is it enough to put people's interest back into where it was the first time around? How much is actually going to be different in Season 3? I have absolutely no idea. There's not a whole lot of details on Season 3 from Monolith yet, but it's supposed to be launching on the 23rd this month. And so we'll kind of see when it launches, what it looks like, because it was sort of a weird a la carte sort of picking last time as well in terms of all of the little expansions. Now, again, Batman Beyond was awesome in the fact that they included that in the mythos, but at the same time, what else are you going to put in here? And I have no idea because the Batman mythos is just so massive that you can go in so many different directions, which is awesome. At the same time, this is a game I wanted to love, but easily ended up selling it away without too many regrets either. So is this going to be something that drags me back in? Probably not. But again, I'm going to have my eyes on it because, I mean, it's freaking Batman, right? Or as my 1.5-year-old says, dunna dunna. Because, I mean, the Batman song is dunna 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 Batman. And the Batman is dun dun dunna dunna. See the combination there? Anyway, you know where I'm going with that. Okay, now let's get into some quick hits just for other things that I didn't get fully attention to, but I wanted to at least mention at the end of this video. Deck construction, Feralis, obscure land, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, fantasy theme world. Looks like a great concept. Have no clue what it's going to look like. Deer Game Studios, new guy on the block, and so we'll kind of see what it can offer. Western Legends is having a big box at the beginning of the month. And so again, is it just going to be, a little bit of everything? Or is it going to be a better price point? Sort of like Everaldell did when they brought all of their stuff out. What's going to be new? Because you got to have at least something a little bit new on Kickstarter to justify another campaign. So what's that going to be? We'll see on the 1st. On the 8th, we have Maul Peak, the successor to Skulk Hollow, sort of the Shadows of Colossus version of a board game where you have the little guys going up against the big boss guy. And hopefully, I know there were some criticisms of the first game of just some of the balance and some of the whatever. I don't really know. I can't speak to it firsthand. I'm not going to lie. But hopefully, again, this is a 2.0 version that takes what they did, how they learned the first time around, the most awesome looking meeples you'll ever see. Again, I need some of those meeples to sit behind me in the background. And then just makes it all the more better. So I'm really intrigued to see what they can do there because, again, this would be a great game for me to be able to play. And it looks like you have a Kitsune or, the nine-tailed fox maybe. Or no, that's Cerebrus. That looks more like Cerebrus rather than the fox. Although I guess you could go either there. Maybe they combine the two. Maybe they make up their own monsters. Anyway, I'm intrigued. Maul Peak. Also, we have Motor City by the creators of Three Sisters, the heavy roll and write. This is another heavy roll and write that is strategic engine building, sort of in the Detroit card building system, where you've got 2 full sheets of pages that you're going to be managing going back and forth. I've played the print and play. It's a solid, crunchy game. If you're interested, you should also check it out when it launches. Last up here, we have Age of Rome. It's worker placement. I mean, that's about all I know. It's set in Rome. Here are some people you can be. I don't really know what to say, but it's got like a spinning board apparently as well. That's sort of a unique mechanism. So take that for what you will. And again, how heavy is it going to be? How many deluxe coins, can you buy with this game? Because that's going to be another seriously interesting question. Yeah, Ignite, I had to mention the deluxe coins. I always have to mention deluxe coins when I talk about deluxe worker placements. Deal with it. 4 phases: scheme, building, action, income, whatever that may entail. Again, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of coverage, especially on the heavy Euro market. So if you're interested, check that out as well. This video went longer than I wanted, longer than I expected. Another interesting word-based game called the Literati that's launching at the beginning of the month. We have not mentioned the Jasko follow-up, which is supposed to be coming sometime in the end of Q1. Follow-up from the Street Fighter miniature game in terms of the Mortal Kombat miniature game. As well as Waste Knight's 2nd edition is supposed to have something coming out at the end of the month, as well as the Nightmare Cathedral over on Gamefound, one of the Gamefound announcements from last year. So again, lots of stuff, a lot of variety. And, as always, I'll be covering it all. So if you want more of this, if you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumb button. Help me go viral on the YouTube algorithm to get other people's eyes on me in the first place, just to help out and help me get to 10,000 by the end of the year. And that's all I got. That's all I got. I need to go watch some Premier League. Actually, not Premier League. We might be getting the Premier League. I might be getting Peacock Network because we have Paramount Plus right now. So I've been watching a lot of Serie A and the Champions League, but my wife just canceled Paramount Plus apparently because the South African version of Survivor that she was watching, they just pulled it off for some reason, completely off the channel, and so she just decided to not look for anything else new, not see where it went or find a replacement. She just decided to cancel it all, so we're losing that at the end of the month. So I need to finish up the Champions League to see where I'm at right now on that aspect, and I was just finally learning some teams and some people in Serie A, and now I'm gonna have to either tell her to uncancel it, which, again, Serie A of the leagues that I was most interested in, it kind of goes Premier League and then the Bundesliga. I'm mispronouncing that in the first place, and then the French league, I'm forgetting what that one's called, and then the Italian league, which is Serie A, and I'm just finally getting into it though. That's the problem and I'll probably get the Peacock though because it's the next cheapest, because then I can get all of at least the Premier League. So okay, sorry. End football rant over. Yeah, I said football. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Peace out. Stay classy. Have a great night, day, whatever. Thanks for watching. And, clearly, because that fits well on a license card.